guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You have to excuse me, I'm working with some new technology here. I got me a ring light. I got this little handy dandy thing here and it looks like it's working. So I decided that I'd pop on here and give you guys some information about what's been going on with the property that I purchased from the Detroit Land Bank. It's been a full year later. You guys have had some questions and I have some answers. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Jasmine, and if this is your first video, then I would suggest you look in the description box and watch my previous videos because this video will not make sense. So one thing that I'd like to share with you guys is that I decided to rent out my property, and I decided to do that for two reasons. The area, for one, like I said in my previous video, I felt that area would be gentrified here soon, and so I decided to just buy and hold for a while. I don't know how long I'll hold it, but I plan on renting long term, and I also like some consistent cash flow. Also, I purchased the property next door and I'm so excited about that as well. I feel like I'm always like, I'm so excited, but I really am. Like, this whole process and journey is exciting, and once you guys get into it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so a little bit of information about my second property. This property was an own it now, which was different from my previous property because it was an auction house. So I was able to go through this process, and what I can tell you is that I am not a fan. Only because of the whole blind bid situation. Now, I got lucky again because I was the only bidder, so I didn't have to worry about getting into like the blind bid with someone else, which is what I'm experiencing now because I'm looking for a property for my dad, and he likes own it now properties, and you know, it's tough because if you have multiple bidders and you can't see how much people are bidding, you just kind of have to put something out there and hope that your bid is the highest. So that's how that works. As far as that goes, the process is pretty much the same as I explained in my last video. If you're wondering, this house only cost me $1,000 as well. Again, I was the only bidder, so I got a little lucky there. And let's see, I am self-managing my property, and I plan to do the same thing once I'm done renovating the second property. I just felt like it was not easy, but it was more feasible for me because I'm back and forth from Detroit so often to where I could kind of manage it myself, and I wanted to save a buck and just do it myself. And it's been interesting. It hasn't been too bad, but I would just advise you, if you don't have a lot of time, don't do it, because especially if you don't have good tenants, then it can be time consuming. Not saying that that's my situation, but I can see how it can be time consuming if you have a tenant who is a little needy. All right, I'm gonna get into the goods because I can't stand when I'm wanting to know some information and a person rambles and you just like, come on, get to the point. So here we go. The first question has to do with taxes. That was the paper that I was holding up in my thumbnail. We have winter taxes and summer taxes. So when I purchased my property, I didn't have any back taxes. That is unique to my situation. I'm not sure if all land bank houses are like that. And I was informed that I didn't have to pay any taxes for the first year. So now that it's been a full year, I have summer taxes because I purchased my house last summer, and they sent this in the mail, and what it says is that I owe roughly over $1,000 for my summer taxes, and if I want to, I could break that payment up. So my first payment is due in in August, which is this month, and then I could pay the other half in January. So they give you a while to come up with the money. You can do half and half, or you can pay it all in full for your summer taxes, and then once winter comes, I'm pretty sure I'll be receiving a bill for winter taxes as well. Alright, so another question is about the water bill and the water line. So my water bill was $17. I didn't have to pay for that. The land bank covered it. I don't know if they're doing things differently now, but that was my situation. And as far as the water line, this is something newer that they're doing on the website. they've always stated if the water line was cut or not. So if you look in the description area up underneath the house, it'll say water line cut, yes or no. If it says yes, when you scroll down, it'll be an area in red that mentions that it says something to the effect of they're not sure how much it'll cost for the water to be reconnected, but it could be up to 10K. And also sometimes it'll say no, the water line hasn't been cut. And if you scroll down to the bottom, it'll have that in red as well. And then thirdly, it'll say no, the water line was not cut, and it'll have nothing down there in red. So what I take from that, or what I am assuming, is that if they say no, the water line hasn't been cut and it's no fine print in red, then you're good to go. But if it says no, the water line has not been cut, and you see that red message at the bottom, it's a possibility that the water line was cut and they're just not sure. And then if it says yes, the water line was definitely cut, and it has the message in red, it's cut. It is out of there. And I actually emailed the land bank about this to get some clarification, and they said, with regard to determining a price for the repair of the water line, you have to research different professionals that are licensed and certified to do such a job. Every plumber is not authorized to do this work, so please keep that in mind when researching companies. So basically what they're saying is, oh, and it says here too, I asked about a particular property, and they said they didn't know the status of the water line about that particular property. So that was one that said the water line was not cut, like I mentioned before, but in red it made it seem like it's a possibility that it was. So basically, they, from the sounds of it, even if it says the water line was cut, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't really trust it, because they're saying that they're not sure if it was cut or not. So when I'm looking for properties now, I'm looking for a property where the water line was not cut, because I really don't want to have to deal with that, and I don't know how much it'll cost. I don't want to have to deal with finding a company that's gonna reconnect it, because from the sounds of it, it could be pretty pricey. So that's just me, and that's something to keep in mind. So I've gotten a couple of questions about if the land bank wants to know if you have a certain amount of money in the bank. The answer to that is no. They don't require you to submit any bank statements or anything like that. So if you got $0 in the bank, that's between you and your bank. Did I have to show them a Detroit address? No, I used the Detroit address when creating my profile only because I wanted to receive my mail while I was there in Detroit. So, you know, the land bank sent out a couple of things via mail, and I wanted to make sure I was able to get that mail quickly. So that was the only reason why I used a Detroit address to create my profile. But that's not a requirement. And as far as the licensing goes, my license is from Georgia, so that wasn't an issue. Did I take out a bank loan? No, I didn't take out a loan. I mentioned that in my one of my previous videos about how I would recommend a loan if you don't have a lump sum of money, because I ran out of money. And if you like to know exactly what I did, I don't go into detail about funding, but if you want to know exactly what I did to make up for the money that I didn't have, that information can be made available to you if you purchase the ebook. So it'd be beneficial to purchase the ebook, because after that I give you guys the green light to ask me any questions that you have. Does this have to be my primary residence? No, you can purchase this house as a homeowner, or you can purchase it as rental property. So if you purchase it as a homeowner, you're supposed to live in the house for 1 year before you can sell it or rent it out, or whatever you decide to do with it. Did the property look the same way in person as the photos online? In my case, it did. However, that might not be the case for you if you have really old pictures. But for both of my properties, they look pretty much the same in person as they did online. Do the land bank have any loan programs? I'm not aware of any loan programs that they have per se, but they do have an area on the website underneath programs and then community partners where you can search under your district to see who's listed, and they'll have churches, programs, other businesses with their contact information, and you can reach out to them and see if they're donating anything, or if any church has any volunteers, any community service or anything like that. Now, that didn't work in my case. Everybody that I reached out to either didn't respond or just didn't have, any funding to donate. So maybe you'll have better luck in your district. What kind of permits do I need? You're most likely going to need a mechanical, electrical, and a plumbing permit, because you have to keep in mind that these houses are typically, they're run down. So you're going to need those three main permits right there. How is investing in Detroit for commercial buildings? I'm not sure. I haven't gotten into investing in commercial buildings yet. That is big. That's huge. But it is some information on the Detroit website for commercial buildings. It's www.detroitmi.gov/properties. So if you go check that out, you'll see some commercial buildings. Can I do this if I live outside of America? If so, how can I start? Yes, I know there's tons of out of country investors investing in Detroit. So yes, you can very well do this. How do I start? Of course, ensuring your finances are in order. And that would either be your personal money, making sure you have enough saved, or taking out a loan. That's always the first step. How to collect rent and make renovations as someone living out of state. I'll start with the renovations. If you're living out of state, you need to make sure you have a good construction company or a good general contractor to set your mind at ease, and to just make sure that you want to use good people to make sure things are getting done correctly, since you're not there to oversee everything. And I have some recommendations for that in my ebook. It is a complete guide. It's only $25. That is also below. And how to go about collecting rent. You can set it up to where the rent is direct deposited into your account if that's something that the tenant is comfortable with, or you can have them transfer it using Zelle, which is bank to bank, or a money order, and deposit that into your account. So it's different options. Now, if you really want to get into it, there are certain apps where you can, your tenant could pay rent over an app or via online. So you can explore some of those options too. How to go about picking the best neighborhoods and tips to finding the right home without physically seeing them. Okay, the best neighborhoods. This is actually a good question. Detroit is block by block. So although I do mention some areas and zip codes and districts in my ebook, you guys got to get that ebook. It's a lot of good stuff in there. A little side note, I've sold 50 ebooks so far, and I am happy about that because I have not had one bad review yet. So I think it really is helpful to purchase the ebook. But okay, so back to his question, the best neighborhoods. Detroit is block by block. So what that means is you'll be in a neighborhood and one block will be good, and then like right over the next block won't be. That's a possibility. And that is actually my exact same situation. My block, as I explained before, is very nice. People mow their lawns, neighbors, they wave at you, when you come outside. Very good, quiet block. The very next block is totally different. It's like night and day, it's just night and day. So that's what I mean about block by block. I'm grateful that I'm on this block and not the other block. Now, if you unless you just get a house in a suburb somewhere, that's the only real way to kind of have a better idea of what the neighborhood will be like. I mean, even in the suburbs, things happen. You know, it's crime everywhere, but you'll know for sure if you're in the suburbs, then you're typically safe. But in Detroit, I would recommend, if you don't live here, to come check it out yourself if that's an option for you. Or my dad, he does that. He drives around and checks out properties for people who are out of state for a small fee. You give him like 3 addresses that you see on the land bank and you want him to check out for you, and he'll go and check out the neighborhood. He'll check out the house itself. He's not an inspector, but you know, sometimes you'll see a picture on the land bank and it'll show you like the roof, and you can clearly see what they're trying to show you in the pictures, right? Or sometimes they'll like point generally to the roof and you can't tell what they're trying to show you. So certain instances like that, it's best if you have someone to go and check it out so they can see, you know, oh yeah, something going on with this roof, or oh yeah, this block is, it's a lot of traffic, it's a lot going on this block. So that was actually a good question. Again, if you like that service, email me. And then finally, I'm offering a new service, so you guys can email me about this too. I am consulting. So far I've had about 3 consultations pertaining to the same subject, and the difference between purchasing the ebook and asking me questions via email versus having a Zoom meeting where we consult one-on-one or in a group setting. The difference is that you'll be able to get some of your more individualized personal questions answered. Even then, when I am emailing back and forth, if you purchase the ebook, I'll answer like a question or 2, but I honestly speaking, I don't have the time. Not to be rude, I don't have the time just to be, you know, emailing away all your questions. It's easier for me to hop on the phone on a Zoom and get all of your questions answered in about 30 minutes or so, and then, you know, everybody's happy. Time saved. So that is a new service to check that out. And finally, I just want to wrap up with a short story, something that I realized the other day. Now at this point, if all you care about is the houses, then you can end it now. But if you kind of want to know a bit of my thought process and just kind of connect a little bit, I have just like a short story. So I went out of the country to Jamaica, and while I was there, I took an ATV tour. And on that tour, at a certain point, we got to this cliff, and they were offering cliff jumping. So I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't really know that this was gonna be involved in an ATV tour. And at first I was just like, no, no, I'm good, I'm straight. But then I saw this guy do it, and then, you know, next this girl do it, and I'm kind of like,
oh, I can't let a girl do me.
So I'm thinking about it, and I can like partially swim because I had partial swimming lessons. So that was the fear there, and I almost let fear creep in. And I made all of these excuses in my mind. I had my clothes on because I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't want to get my hair messed up, all of these things, right? And I'm relating this to the houses because it was the same way before I purchased this property. I had, you know, excuses, you know, well, I don't live there. I had these fears, and these are valid. You know, if you're out of state, or even if you live there, this is a big deal. Purchasing a property is a big deal, so it's natural and normal to be afraid. But what I want you to take from this story is that I jumped, right? In both situations, in both scenarios. I jumped into the housing game not knowing anything about it. And then I jumped off of the cliff into the water, not being prepared for it. I've never done it before. And my mantra is, don't be scared, just jump, right? And I say that to myself, and I try to live that in everything that I do. So with this housing situation, if you have the money for it, you might not have all your questions answered. You might not have everything fully planned out, but sometimes you have to just jump. And now that doesn't mean like just jumping out there and buying something without no plan at all. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is sometimes you're not gonna have your swimming suit on, right? Sometimes you're not gonna want to get your hair wet. Sometimes, things opportunities just kind of come up when you least expect it. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit on the sideline and watch everybody like have fun? Or are you gonna be brave and jump? And that's exactly how I felt afterwards. I felt brave and I loved it so much, I did it again. Same example here with the houses. I felt brave after I purchased my first property, and I was able to do it, so I did it again. And once you do something one time, you can do it over and over again. So that's just a little short story. I'll include a clip of me jumping off the cliff so you guys can check it out. But just always just try to not let fear keep you from doing something great. So don't forget to like and subscribe. That's all I got for you guys today. I done poured my heart out. I'm done. If you have any questions, as always, put them below and I will try my very best to answer them all. And yeah, definitely email me for the ebook or for consultations, or if you'd like to have my dad check out some properties for you. All right, guys. Bye.